It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
The great Pulitzer Prize winning columnist of the New York Post, Michael Goodwin. And Michael, I love your column today. J.D. Vance only boosted Trump Republicans, while bug-eyed Tim Walz hampered Kamala Harris's chances.
Well, Mike, what are we trying to say in that?
Well, sometimes these headlines get a little long, and they give away the surprise.
Yeah, it was, by the way, the bug-eyed started, I think, 5 seconds in, and it was weird. I mean, and I thought about also sort of like the famous, Nixon debates, where I wondered if people hearing it versus seeing it, if you saw it, you're like, what is going on with this guy?
That's a good point. Visually, that's an important part. I mean, it's on television. That's where most people will see it. And as you mentioned with Nixon, one of the famous stories there is the people who listened to it on the radio thought Nixon won the debate, whereas those who saw it on television thought Kennedy won. And that had a lot to do with Nixon's sweat on his upper lip. It looked like he needed a shave and all of that.
Yeah, but that didn't happen here, Michael.
Yeah, this one was like...
even if you heard it on radio, you know that Walz lost.
I think when he said that school shooters are good friends of his, I think that he kind of lost a lot of votes.
Yeah, and I mean, there were several things like that where, as I say in the column, he just was speed talking until the time ran out, and his mouth was working faster than his brain. And so there were a lot of non sequiturs. I mean, talking about this whole thing about why did you lie, that not the way it was put, but that you were not in Tiananmen Square, you were not in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square uprising. And he spent, almost 3 minutes talking in circles about it. Well, I grew up in a small town in Nebraska where everybody knew everybody, and the kids, we could ride our bikes till the lights came on, and people there know who I am. And what? I mean, and then eventually he gets to, when he's pressed, I was a knucklehead.
And we all agree.
Yeah, we all agree with that part. What's interesting? I wish they had, as in terms of the role of the moderators, I thought one of the strongest moments, and you brought this, we have also, by the way, with us in studio, we have obviously me and John, Judge Weinberg, Rudy Washington, but we also have the great Congresswoman Lisa McClain from Michigan. And the Congresswoman brought up sort of the moment with the fact checking was an interesting moment. And I thought that was very effective for Vance, because he didn't back down when she started a fact check, and then he said, wait, that wasn't the rules here. And then he brought up, and he corrected the record about the CBP app, the Customs and Border Protection app. I thought that was a very effective moment. How do you think the moderators did, and how do you think he did at that moment, Michael?
Well, look, I think the moderators were clearly biased. I think there's no question about that. I thought there were two interesting moments that, I mean, apart from most of the questions they asked Vance were about Trump, but most of the questions they asked Walz were not about Harris per se. They were about him. So it was designed, I think, to put Vance on defense and always to be defending Trump. And Walz was not similarly burdened by Harris. But I thought there was two questions that I lumped together where the moderators said that CBS polls, so their own polling, showed Trump well ahead on the economy, and then separately ahead on immigration. Now, those are the two most important issues for most voters, the economy and the border and immigration. And then crime is sort of a subset of a lot of this immigration stuff, but not the only part. But they just kind of skimmed over that. They didn't tell us what are the details of those polls, because I think that could have shaped much of the debate.
Well, and you know what? Also, they did not hit on crime. You know, one of the most astounding comments, and we were live here last night, Michael, when we were talking about it, they brought up guns, and I found a really bizarre comment that he said.
Walz.
And yeah, Walz said, and I would be playing that all over the place on the Trump JD Vance team. He said, let's not scapegoat mental, health. Let's not use that as an excuse. It's just the guns. Like the guns, like somehow hop off the desk, go rob a bank, and then come back and act on their own. It was really a bizarre statement, and it comes after he has talked about mandatory gun buybacks. So has Kamala Harris, and that was, in a way, I wish Vance at that moment had said, wait a minute, let's talk about your record. What you just said really epitomizes that you're going to do a gun buyback. We have the Congresswoman here. Your thoughts, Congresswoman McClain?
It's amazing to me how they flip-flop. It is just, it's unbelievable. But I agree with you. I wish we would have hit that a lot harder. But again, like you said earlier, it's softball questions for the Democrats, right? It was made to put JD Vance on defense and nothing but softball questions, for Walz. And I think the American people see that is you do want to buy back guns. I mean, you talked about it. Right? I thought the other important issue was he didn't answer. It was on the abortion question. Right? Is they always want to paint the Republicans into the corner. But I thought J.D. Vance turned that around beautifully.
I agree.
And said, well, you signed a bill that you can have an abortion right up until the moment of the birth. No, I didn't. Really? Yeah, you did. Show me where it doesn't say that. He couldn't answer that. But did you see how they skimmed right over that, and all of a sudden the abortion topic was done and we were on to a different topic?
That was a great point. In fact, I noticed that when Tim Walz answered Michael Goodwin, he said it's distorted. But you're right, he wasn't pressed on, what's the He didn't say it was wrong because J.D. Vance actually read the law. He actually had it memorized. It was a powerful moment and went on the offense on it.
Right.
Also, the last question, and we were talking about this, and I want to bring in, because we have some big breaking news today. The last question I found odd at the debate. It was all about January 6th. Again, obviously to your point, Congresswoman, and Michael's, that it was sort of all customized to kind of put Vance in a corner. So they kept hammering him on January 6th. Lo and behold, just about an hour or so ago, it breaks. What we kind of describe as an October surprise. Judge Chutkan is releasing Jack Smith, with his filing showing that there's some, questionable statements on Trump, trying to smear Trump, if you will.
On the immunity issue, Michael, they're saying that it was private, it was private conduct, not official acts, and it's a total smear job on Trump.
Michael, we just have a few seconds. Your thoughts?
Well, look, I think that, with the moderators asking the questions about January 6th, about climate change, I mean, this is their agenda. This is the Democratic Party's agenda, and it's not the agenda of most Americans. So I think that was a big gap between what the moderators and the media care about and what the country, most Americans care about. Yep. I think that's the bias right there.
Absolutely. Well, everybody check out Michael's great columns as always. Thank you, Michael, so much.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.